Hello and welcome back to the At Home Film Festival. I'm Kevin Thomas. This is not deja vu, but this is part 2 of our look at the Frameline Film Festival happening all through this week. And if you stick to the end, some of these movies you could stream and I'll point out which those are. But in the meantime, this has been a great festival. It's the longest running gay film festival in the nation, maybe even the world. But I have seen so many great films, and yet I've missed a lot because I can't spend every waking moment watching a movie, but I'd love to, I'll tell you that. But let's take a look at 7 that will screen this week live and in person, and you must go there. Get tickets at frameline.org. Oh my God, I'm so glad that I watch movies to the very last minute because I just saw today What a Feeling. Yes, it uses that song title from Irene Cara. This movie is so wonderful. It's probably one of the best films of the festival. In fact, if it had a straight couple and starred Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan in the 80s, this would be a giant blockbuster hit. It's got such universal appeal. I hope it becomes a hit among festivals as well as among theater goers. It is a really cute movie about an Iranian woman and who's really cool, and she's a mechanic and she's a handyman, and then she meets this uptight German doctor. Oh my God. They clash, and of course that means tension and that means sexual tension. The two are so great together, and they sort of bond over the song What a Feeling. It plays a role in this movie, and it's great for all audiences. Don't just follow your lane if you're a lesbian to go see this movie. Gay men should see this movie. Straight men should see this movie. Straight women. It's just so great. And bear alert, although he's a supporting role, there's this really sexy bear, Anton Nori, that we gotta pay attention to. But other than that, this is a great love story. Oh, there he is. This is a great love story, and I think this is a wonderful film. You must watch it. Riley is also a highlight of the festival. It's about a young sports player in high school that's being selected by all the colleges. He can go anywhere he wants on a scholarship. But of course, since it's at a gay film festival, guess what? Riley likes dudes. But it's so hard for him to come to terms with that. This movie has the most authentic dialogue that I ever heard in a film dealing with young people. They use bra and bro a right amount of times. It doesn't sound forced or fake. I think the conversations they have among each other is also wonderful. You must seek out Riley. Seek it now. National Anthem has so much broad appeal for a wide array of different moviegoers. It's got gay characters, trans characters, drag queens. It takes place in the country, which typically you would think it has a bunch of big tough dudes that want to beat up the queers, but that is not even discussed in the story. It's about friendship and love and travel and coming to terms with yourself and meeting new friends and enjoying your life. This movie's so good. I was going to skip Thruple because I've seen other movies called Thruple or very much Thruple-ish. But this movie was really good and refreshing. It's so good. It's one of my 7 that I'm doing this week. I could have given it to many other films, but Thruple has this super nerdy, funny guy that meets this couple and they're looking for a third, and he is so quirky and weird that it just seems perfect for him to get involved in that. Usually when you think of Thruple in movies, you think they're all 3 hot guys and just sort of semi-pornish, but this movie is just wonderful and just very sexy and romantic and honest and real. Love it. Then we have Perfect Ending, which is a perfect ending, a middle and beginning. It's about a young writer that has a screenplay that it's good. The studio likes it, but it's kind of on hold because it could use some work. But he really hasn't lived, so the screenplay isn't based upon anything true in his life. But then he starts getting in these really interesting personal relationships, so he thought maybe he could write a screenplay about something he knows himself. And at the same time, he somehow needs to make extra money, so he's editing some corporate stuff, kind of bored by that, but then he gets involved with people wanting to have him film their sex acts. I don't mean porn, it's just like couples doing it for themselves to enjoy later, and that is so titillating and fun. It adds to the many layers of this wonderful film. You have to catch Perfect Ending. Oh, so good. I know I said that a lot, but I'm going to say it maximum 7 times this week. Oh, on the documentary side, we have A House Is Not a Disco, which of course I wanted because I love disco. I wouldn't mind a disco house. But this film takes us to Fire Island through the many decades of people that have lived there forever. It is still a very happening gay mecca for people to travel to, mostly in the summer, and it has great summers and people talk about it all the time. But this movie takes us a look back into the history. Some people that live there year round and they've been there for decades and decades. Other times they have people just come to their home and kind of is like their summer family. It's a great getaway spot. We learn so much about the businesses at Fire Island. It's really an eye-opener and informative and fun. Another gem of a movie is Fallen Fruit, but a young Latin boy that moves away from his small Florida town to go to New York for love. Well, that ends, unfortunately. So he comes home. He still has so much to learn about himself, and he's just sort of really just an older child because he's barely out of college age, so he just doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. He tinkers around town. He meets some local gays and enjoys life with them. He also learns responsibility with his family. And it's it's a very fine film. It's one of my favorites from the festival. I couldn't find really a preview, so I just found a scene from it. So as we watch this great scene, just know there's so many other wonderful scenes, and there's a lot of other movies you need to catch at Frameline this year. I promise you that. Well, that's our show of the week. I hope you come back. I hope you watched last week's episode to catch up on other great Frameline films. I hope you share. And here is a list of movies that I also like that are streaming. You could watch at home in case you can't come to San Francisco. As we leave, let's take a look at the movie The Judgment, which is also one of the streaming films that I recommend this week. This movie's a love story, yet it deals with religion and conflict and hate. And oh my God, it's a horror film. It's so much. It's wonderful. Catch this streaming or at the theater. And then I will just see you next week with a whole new episode. Okay, bye-bye. Oh.